So you know those films that just make you fall in love with cinema again? The ones that feel like lightning just bottled, pure fun, but also meaningful. And for me, that is Thor Ragnarok. Every time I watched it, I'm reminded why I love and adore the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And this isn't just a great superhero movie, it's the rebirth of a character, a tonal masterclass, and a reminder that gods need a good laugh now and then, especially when they can do it like this. But to be completely honest, I love this movie, genuinely love it. It's vibrant, hilarious, heartfelt, confident, and it doesn't apologise for being colourful or silly. It leans into it, and that's why it works so perfectly. And for me, this is as close to perfect as Marvel has come in the standalone sort of movies. The CGI is a bit dodgy here and there, but it's so much fun. I don't really care about it. But this is the definition of finding that balance between comedy, tragedy, chaos, heart, myth, modernity, and also it's the moment that Chris Hemsworth really becomes Thor for me. It's not stiff, he's not Shakespearean like he was in the first films, he's not the moody warrior that he was in the Dark World, but he's self-aware, hilarious, badass. You know, he can stand toe-to-toe with anyone and deliver the most iconic entrances that we get in cinema. Infinity War, this movie, you know, this is Thor's movie, but it's also Taika's playground. He loses the will a bit going forward, but hey, it happens. From the opening scene, though, we know what we're in for. It's something completely different. We find Thor chained up, chatting to a fire demon called Surtur, making jokes about spinning around so that he can face him properly. It's ridiculous, it's brilliant. And that one moment tells you everything you need to know about this film's tone. It's confident, it's irreverent, and it doesn't take itself too seriously, yet somehow it never loses respect of the mythology. What Taika Waititi understood here was something that the previous films didn't. Thor isn't interesting because he's a god. He's interesting because he's a god trying to be human. He's flawed, he's funny, and he's got that big brother energy that makes him both endearing and frustrating. This film lets Hemsworth show every facet of that, and his comedic timing, his physicality, his charm, it's a revelation here. And the MCU, they could have kept this character fresh for time and time again. Thor escapes Surtur, he returns to Asgard, and the comedy just keeps on giving. We've got Loki pretending to be Odin, you know, his own heroism around what happened in Thor the Dark World, but there's a rhythm to their dialogue now, and it's a lived-in quality that comes from years of shared chaos. And you can tell that Hemsworth and Hiddleston, they're really having fun, and that fun is infectious. We feel that, and we dive into it. Then we get one of my favourite moments in all of Phase 3, where Doctor Strange is there. It's short, but it's perfect. The constant teleporting, Thor getting frustrated, Loki, you know, falling for hours. It's acknowledging its own absurdity and enjoying that crossover potential without feeling like they're just shoehorning in cameos. We've then got Anthony Hopkins giving a quiet, beautiful performance as the Allfather here. His death is handled with a level of restraint and poetry that really grounds the film. Emotionally, just before it goes all crazy, because the moment Odin fades, Hela arrives. And Cate Blanchett, my word, she delivers in this movie, something that Marvel has been screaming for. There's something magnetic about her performance, equal parts regal, terrifying, deliciously over the top, and the way that she crushes Mjolnir without hesitation. That's not her flexing, it's a statement that the old Thor is gone, and Asgard is gone, and everything is about to change. We hit that first big turning point. Thor and Loki are thrown out into the void, literally just cast aside, while Hela begins her reign of terror back at Asgard. We've then got Sakaar, the mad cosmic dumping ground, ruled by Jeff Goldblum's Grandmaster, and this is where Taika goes full Taika. The colour palette explodes, the music kicks into overdrive, and the entire vibe shifts from a mythic tragedy to a space opera fever dream. If the first act was about loss, the second act is about reinvention. Thor wakes up on this planet, it's made of rubbish, and he's stripped of his hammer, his home, his pride, and it's here that he starts to rebuild himself. The way this film handles that loss is genuinely clever. It doesn't drown in misery, it embraces humour as survival. Every joke is a coping mechanism, every laugh is Thor refusing to break and give in to that torture. Just when you think it can't get any crazier, here comes the Hulk. He's been lost, but now he is found. That arena is iconic. The build-up, the reveal, the crowd chanting, it's pure comic book joy. He's a friend from work. This was a Make-A-Wish kid that became instantly legendary that came up with this. And it's magic in film, and it is joyful, and it gives us exactly the sort of cameos that we need. The fight itself is great, you feel the energy, the weight, the chaos, and it's not just a spectacle. It's character work. Thor isn't just there to smash, he's there to remind Thor that power doesn't define him. The two of them arguing in the quarters afterwards is some great Marvel comedy. They need to stick with that. We then meet Valkyrie. Let's be honest, Tessa Thompson, she's very, very good. She's effortlessly cool, she's flawed, she's drunk, dangerous, and deeply human. And her backstory with Hela, it adds emotional texture and weight to her character. And that sort of link with Thor, she's not just a sidekick, she's a Valkyrie. And while we're talking about supporting characters, there's got to be a shout out to Korg. Yes, wasted going forward, but in this movie, I don't think I've laughed at a Marvel character like that. Puss off, Ghost. It's got no right to be in this movie, but it is hilarious and it works. Back on Asgard, Hela continues her domination. She's raising the ancient dead, she's got Scourge to help her, and it's given us visuals from a heavy metal album. And the way that she moves, the costume design, the sharp antler crown, it's so great, and she really understood what was expected of her in this movie. But I think the thing that makes her such an effective villain is what she represents. She's the embodiment of the dark past, the empire built on conquest, denial, and the blood that Odin spilled to maintain his throne. When she tears down the golden facade, she's literally exposing the hypocrisy here. It's such clever storytelling hidden beneath the jokes and explosions. Eventually, Thor, Valkyrie, Loki, they team up for what is essentially a cosmic prison break. It's chaotic, it's funny, and it's the most alive the MCU has felt in years. Every sequence feels handcrafted for maximum entertainment value. The devil's anus escape, the soundtrack pounding, the pure insanity of it all. And then we get to the finale. The entire bridge sequence is just top tier Marvel. From the use of Led Zeppelin's Immigrant Song to the electric blue lightning coursing through Thor's veins, it's cinema at its most fun. The sound, the visuals, and the sheer coolness of all of it. I don't think I've had a bigger grin watching a superhero movie, and that's why I love these stories. And it's sad to see what Marvel can't do when they can do this. Thor realises that Asgard isn't a place, it's the people, and it's genuinely one of the most mature emotional resolutions. After 2 films spent protecting the throne, he finally understands that leadership is not about power or heritage, it's about compassion. The destruction of Asgard is bittersweet. The visuals, yes, are heavy CGI, but the emotion underneath sells it. Thor has got to destroy his home to save his people, and that's mythic storytelling with modern weight. It's heroic tragedy at its best. And as the survivors escape into space, the tone is oddly hopeful. Thor has lost everything, yet he is reborn. The God of Thunder has finally found his sparks again, and he doesn't need a hammer or a throne to do that. Now, in the broader MCU, its importance can't be overstated. It completely revitalised Thor in this franchise, and it made him relevant once again, and it made him a character that audiences care about and want to see. And it brings him into Infinity War, where he arrives in Wakanda. It doesn't hit that hard if it's not earned in this movie. Taika's also brought something else to the table. The confidence. The MCU had been playing it safe in some corners, relying on a basic formula, but Ragnarok, this was a huge risk. Cracking jokes, it made a villain flamboyant, and it made a space opera out of Norse mythology. And my God, did it work. The blend of humour, and it just became the blueprint for the next phase of Marvel. And sometimes it's been copied very poorly. Love and Thunder is a huge point there. But when it's done right, it is absolute magic. Now, I just want to talk about the visual style for a moment, because Ragnarok doesn't look like any other MCU film. It's colourful, it's psychedelic, it's almost painterly at times. The production design takes inspiration from Jack Kirby's comic book art, and all the angular lines, the impossible geometry, bright pastels, that shouldn't work in this type of sort of film, but it does. The cinematography leans into that weirdness rather than toning it down. It's like Flash Gordon meets Mad Max, but everything is just ramped up and better. The soundtrack and the score is a triumph. The synth-heavy 80s inspired pulse, it sort of gives that film the background identity. It's completely unforgettable, and the way that the music cuts in when Thor's getting his powers back and he realises what's going on, it's excellent. I've mentioned the CGI, and I just want to address that properly because honestly 90% of it is excellent. The lightning, the cosmic portals, the design of Sakaar, it's all stunning, but there are moments, particularly in the third act, where it does look a little rough. There's some green screen edges, a few floating heads, a little too much digital blur. It's not a deal breaker by any means, but this is the one thing that keeps this film from a 5-star for me. The visuals, it doesn't match the tone in the writing, and it's a 0.5 deduction. It's not really a criticism. It's just an acknowledgement that even greatness has got seams. I think for me, it's the moment where Scourge is there and the head gets cut off of it's early on, but it's very poor. But every exchange, it builds these characters. Every joke, they land naturally. There's no dead air. Even the side characters of Score, the Grandmaster, Scourge, they feel memorable and unique. But more than that, this story has got purpose throughout. Thor's arc is not about defeating a villain. It's about becoming worthy of himself. And by the end, when he sits on that ship as the king of Asgard, he's not just powerful, he's wise. And that's the mark of a true hero's journey. And what I also love about this movie is that it has heart. Amid the chaos and the humour, the wild colours, there's serenity, there's Odin's farewell, there's Valkyrie's trauma, there's Loki's redemption. Even the relationship between Thor and Hulk, two friends rediscovering themselves in exile, it all carries weight. I feel like everything has got a purpose, everything has got a place. But Taika understood that, and that's what separates this from Love and Thunder, where the comedy is drowning the feeling. Here, in this movie, it amplifies it and it brings it out of the characters. But if you followed the MCU journey like I have, you'll know that this marks a pivotal point. It's the moment that Marvel lets its directors get weird. It's where the studio trusted personality over formula. And for a film that could have easily been another dull sequel, it became one of the crown jewels of the entire series of movies. And this made Thor cool. I can't stress that enough. It wasn't my favourite character before this film. It's probably my favourite MCU character now. He's become one of the most popular Avengers again. Not because he was the strongest, not because he's the funniest, of course that helps. But he's one of the most relatable. Watching Ragnarok now, and it is so rewatchable, it still holds up beautifully. The pacing is near perfect, the humour is not forced, the emotional beats still land, and the ending still gives me that sort of sense I've just watched a great superhero movie. But yeah, 4.5 stars. I think it's one of Marvel's very best. A film that dares to be weird, funny, emotional, and unapologetically itself. It's a cinematic equivalent of watching a thunderstorm at a disco. It's chaotic, it's powerful, and somehow it's beautiful, and it just works. Chris Hemsworth has come to work here. Taika has redefined the franchise even for a little bit, and Marvel reminded the world why it can dominate at the cinema. This is lightning in a bottle. And if you're ever feeling like the MCU's lost its spark, then just go back and watch this. It's proof that when Marvel gets it right, it gets it so right. This isn't just about the end of Asgard, it's about rebirth. And for Thor, for the franchise, and honestly, for superhero cinema as a whole, it really brought people back. Because sometimes destruction is the only path to creation. And in the ashes of the old Asgard, a new god was born. Now that's why this film still stands years later as one of my favourite Marvel movies. It's definitely top 5 for me. Now, we are back, okay? Gedgehammer reviews, we're in full flow. This is review number 2 since we've come back. 4.5 stars for Thor Ragnarok. But please, go and rewatch it. Laugh, cheer, remind yourself why we fell in love with these movies, because this one, it is thunderous. But until next time, keep that hammer swinging. Don't fuck it up last. Remember, guys, as always, keep on smashing it. Have an amazing day. We have got a top 5 movies. Not the best movies, but top 5 favourite movies of mine for many different reasons that are coming up. We've got a little video on that, and I'll break down each film as we go. We've got the rest of the MCU coming forward as well. We've got some big releases coming up over the next year. So Jurassic World Rebirth, I believe, is on the cards for early next week as well. I can absolutely give that a pounding because that is not good. But hey, like I said, guys, keep on smashing. Thank you for joining me again, and I will see you soon.